This podcast is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Free free. There's also creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I actually use Anchor for this podcast, and it has saved me a lot of time and energy because everything is consolidated in one place. It just makes it so much easier. So if you're interested in doing the same thing, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, you can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey y'all, my name is Christian. I'm a millennial, and this is the Millennial Mind. Millennials get a bad rap for being lazy, non-productive members of society. They are also told that their opinions are warped and that they don't matter. This podcast is designed to express an opinion, but from a millennial's perspective. We will talk about everything from love and relationships to pop culture to pretty much everything that comes to mind. Come join me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your mind as well. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Goli gummies. Now, we all know that apple cider vinegar is the new health kick right now, okay? So you're supposed to take a shot or two in the morning. Some people take it 3 times a day, and you're supposed to get a lot of health benefits, such as losing weight, appetite control, etc. If you guys have ever taken apple cider vinegar shots, it is a very strong taste, okay? It's a very strong taste. It burns your throat when it goes down, just the whole nine. I used to take apple cider vinegar shots as well, and I just got sick of the taste. So I tried to find an alternative to it where I wouldn't lose the benefits, but the taste would be a little bit better. That's when I found out about Goli gummies. Now, Goli gummies, they are little gummies that has apple cider vinegar in it, and you get all of the same benefits of an apple cider vinegar shot. So the appetite control, the weight loss, etc. It's really tasty, so you don't have that burning sensation that's going down your throat every time you consume it. It's amazing. It comes in nice little packaging. They also have, you can also get an individual bottle if you want to try it, or you could do the 1 month supply, 3 month supply, or even a 5-month supply of these gummies. I take them every day and I love them. I try not to eat them as candy because they're just that good. If you want to take advantage of these gummies, I do have a special promo code for my listeners. You can go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get an additional 5% off your purchase. And there is nothing wrong with additional savings. I will take whatever I can get. So if you want to take advantage of these gummies, go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get additional savings. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of The Millennial Mind. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your minds as well. Okay, before we get into this week's episode, I have a few announcements. One, make sure that you tune in to the live that I'm doing with Renee B. Renee. That's every Monday night at 7 p.m. on Instagram, and that will be on RBR Blogs page. So I will put the link in the show notes. So that's every Monday night, 7 p.m. Tune in. It's called Live and in Living Color. And it's basically a girl chat between two good friends about any and everything. And we're really good friends, so it works out. But we talk about everything. So make sure you tune into that. Also, I have a new podcast that's coming out that I'm partnering with Justice Sorrows, one of my other good friends. It's called Dear Black Jesus. That launch date will be coming out soon. It's supposed to be launching pretty soon. It's called Dear Black Jesus, and it's basically a take on situations that we have either found on Bob Saget's internet, or B, are situations that have been submitted to us by listeners. So, while we are waiting for the launch date to come out, make sure that you follow us on Instagram at dear_black_Jesus. Okay. Next, make sure that you read my blog post. It's called What Makes You So Special? And that's basically my journey on being my authentic self and expressing myself. And I'm hoping or kind of encouraging others to go on that authenticity journey as well. So there's that. Also, the podcast is officially on Pandora. Yay! So make sure that you go to Pandora and type in The Millennial Mind in your search bar, and it should come up. So just another avenue for you to listen to podcasts, and more specifically, this one. Okay. That's all the announcements that I have for you guys. So let's get into today's episode. It's basically about protecting your peace and protecting your sanity, okay? Because there is a lot of stuff that's going on in the world that can really bog you down. Every time you go on social media or watch the news, there's always some bad news. From the passing of DMX to the Daunte Wright situation to the George Floyd trial, there's always something going on, and it just can be a little bit much. I'll start with DMX. First, prominent rapper. And if you're not familiar with DMX is a prominent rapper in the United States and probably globally as well. Now, I'm not too familiar with his music because I was sheltered. And I think he was more of maybe like a Generation X rapper and like a elder millennial rapper. I'm more on the younger end of the millennial generation, so I don't remember too much of DMX's music, but I do know who he is. Okay. So he passed away recently at the age of 50 after an alleged drug overdose that caused him to have a heart attack. They had to resuscitate him like 3 times, and then they put him on life support, where he was then declared brain dead, and I think he had some lung failure as well. So just to see that was heartbreaking. Of course, you don't want anyone you really don't want anyone to pass away, okay? And especially as tragically like that, and him being only 50 years old, it just made it even more tragic. And he has a lot of kids. He has about 15 kids, and I think he has a fiance too that he left behind. So it's just a really sad situation. What bothered me too was that of course DMX, he put out there in the world that he believed in God, okay? And at one point, I believe that he was reforming himself and training to be a deacon of a church. I believe it was a deacon. Don't quote me on that, but he was basically participating in the church a lot more. So when the news came out that he passed away and the cause was a drug overdose, of course, Christians are in arms as to what his end result is going to be. And of course, if you're not familiar with Christianity, once you pass away rather, there's two places that you're either going to heaven, which is good, or hell, which is bad. Okay. So of course, judging DMX by what kind of rapper he was and what kind of message he was portraying to the world, a lot of Christians had something to say. So this is one thing I had to protect my peace from, because one, there are going to be naysayers everywhere. There's going to be people who spew out negativity, especially when things like this happen. It's never like, oh, I'm going to pray for the family because they suffered a huge loss in their family that we can't comprehend or may not be able to comprehend because that individual wasn't our family member. But to have these people to, say this negative stuff, it just kind of, it bothers me. So I've gotten to the point now where I have to get off social media because, of course, people they have opinions and they're going to express them because they're behind a computer, they're behind a smartphone, and there's no consequences for what they're saying. So they're going to say whatever they want to say. But I have to protect my peace because, of course, my opinion on that is like, I'm not God. I don't have a heaven or a hell to put anyone in, not even myself. So that's whatever his end result is, that's between him and God. But it's just sad to me that some people are very judgmental about the situation and think that they have a strong grasp as to where somebody's resting place is going to be. And they don't. Like, we'll be blessed if we even make it to heaven. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it just bothers me. So at one point I had to get off of social media, stop watching the news so that I could protect my peace from that because it just kind of bothered me. I think we should be more, instead of like diving into what his salvation was or what level of salvation he had, it should be more of praying for the family who suffered a huge loss, praying for his close friends, praying for those who were close to him. That should be the focus. But of course, that's not. So, of course, I had to protect my peace from that. And just, death in general from 2020 up until present, it's just been a lot of people that have passed, and it just became overbearing. Of course, they put up the pictures, they play the music, they do everything. So I just had to protect myself from that grief because it just becomes a little bit too hard. Okay. And then I already had a neighbor that lived behind me that passed away. He was really close to my husband. So I'm just dealing with this on top of DMX passing away. It was just a lot. So I just had to save myself the trouble from that. Okay. Then, of course, when I thought I had overcame one hurdle, and I know you guys were thinking the same, then there was the Daunte Wright situation that happened. So basically, for people who may not know, I'm going to give you like the Spark Notes version of this. So a female police officer pulled over a 20-year-old black male because he had expired plates. When she looked into the car, she also saw that he had an air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror, which is illegal in the area that he's in. That they're in, which was suburban Minnesota, basically a suburb in Minnesota, I should say. So I'm not sure what transpired transpired between that, but shots were fired. Okay. Shots were fired at Daunte Wright. Daunte dies. Okay. Now, the officer's defense is that she thought she had pulled out her taser, when in actuality, she pulled out her gun and she killed him. Okay. Now, of course, Daunte Wright is Black. He's a Black man. So here's yet another instance of a Black person being murdered by the hands of the police. This is another one that I had to protect my peace from because, baby, it's just been so many that has transpired, over the past, from what I remember, over the past like 9 to 10 years. It's just been overwhelming from Trayvon Martin on down. I just can't take no more. And of course, you have people who are against police brutality, saying police brutality is wrong, yada yada. There needs to be some reform in the police department, defund the police. And then, of course, there are some who support the police officer that says, oh, well, maybe Daunte Wright did something wrong. Maybe he shouldn't have had expired plates. Maybe he should have done this. Maybe he should have done that. And then the cycle continues. Then there's protests. People tear up the city, and then, the person gets arrested. They go through the trial process, they get convicted, and then the time that they serve is like a few years, if that. And, that's it. People forget. Now, I've seen this cycle over and over and over again. And I am tired. I don't know if anyone feels the same way as I do, but I'm just tired of the same cycle, like over and over and over again. And nothing has really changed. Now, I know we probably made some steps forward compared to what happened to us in the Jim Crow era and the civil rights movement. But still, the police brutality itself has not changed. It's still the same. And it's still the same cycle. So I used to be engulfed in that and would just like get really upset about how people were not seeing the way I was seeing, which is basically that police brutality is wrong. And, the use of force is basically not a thing with the police. And it should, and it should be. But it's not. Okay. The force doesn't match. The force of the police doesn't match the force of whoever they're pulling over or interacting with. And so when you see people make comments like, oh, well, what did he do wrong? Or, he should have done this differently, he or she rather, because it's been Black females who've been killed by the police as well. It just, it gets under my skin, and then I get upset, and then I start going down this rabbit hole of responding to people, and it's just too much. I just can't. It's enough dealing with my own issues. I can't add on to it by engulfing myself in this social media racial war. And at one point, I started to feel bad about that because when this happened, I was not looking up to see what happened. Like, I just looked it up like minutes before I recorded this episode, okay? So I hadn't been looking it up. I hadn't been looking on social media and going down the rabbit hole and seeing what people are saying about the situation or what's been going on. I started to feel bad about that. But I was like, no, I have to protect my peace. I have to protect my sanity. Because if I don't, I can't take care of me. I can't take care of my family. I can't take care of my household. And I refuse to do that. Like, a part of self-care is protecting your peace when needed. And I felt like me not getting involved in this situation and getting engulfed with everything that was surrounding it was protecting my peace. And if you did the same thing, that is okay. It is okay. You don't have to engulf yourself in everything that's going on in the world. If you feel like that is causing you anxiety, if if it's causing you depression, if it's affecting your mental, emotional, even your physical health, it's okay to take a step back and say, hey, I need to take care of me, and I need to turn off the social media. I need to turn off the news because it's becoming a little bit too much, and I have to protect what I have left. And that's okay. That is okay. And that is your right. And that's something that I've been doing a lot more, even with like this George Floyd trial. I have not watched it. I just can't. And if you're not familiar with George Floyd, Black male, who he was arrested by the police for an alleged counterfeit bill that he gave at a store. It eventually resulted in him being on the ground with a police officer's knee in his neck, to which he eventually died. And we believe it was on the scene, but I'm not sure what the coroner's report said on that. But, and this happened I believe it was last May. So I chose not to engulf myself in that either, because it just became too much. And then seeing the video over and over again and thinking how, he called for his mama, which, may have been his biological mom or his girlfriend. We just don't know. But it was just a lot. And I like I was saying, I really started to feel bad about not wanting to do more, but I just mentally, I can't. It's just too much. I just can't engulf myself in that anymore. What I can do is just be the best me that I can be. That's all. Like, I've definitely encountered racism over the course of my life, and it's not fun. As a Black female, it's not fun at all. But the only thing I can do is trust God and be the best person that I can be and live according to how He wants me to live. Like I can't concern myself with, and I hate to get churchy, but it's gonna come out anyway. I shouldn't say hate to get churchy, but I am about to get churchy like right now. But I can't get concerned with the cares of this world, because it's always going to be there, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And as soon as you get engulfed, it just drains you. It drains you physically, emotionally, mentally. And I can't handle it. And it honestly, it's always going to be there. It's not going to get any better. Like I was saying before, it's going to get worse. So I just got to do what I can do to make sure that I'm living my life the best that I can, and doing what I can to protect what little space, what little peace, what little joy, what little happiness that I have. And I refuse to let social media, I refuse to let the news, I refuse to let people, I refuse to let anything take that away from me. Because then what kind of life am I living? The Lord might as well just take me home, if I'm living my life like that. And I refuse to do that. So for you all, don't feel bad if you are not allowing yourself to be consumed by everything that is going on in the world today. It's okay to take a step back. It's okay to protect your peace. It's okay to protect your sanity. That's not selfish, that's self-care. Okay? So none of these people on social media, nobody on the news is going to come visit you if you are in a Looney Tune. Okay? If you in the hospital because you had a mental breakdown based on everything that's going on, nobody's going to be there. You have to show up for yourself first, because you're your best advocate. So protect your peace, protect your energy. That's not selfish. That's selfless. It's self-care. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And I hope that you guys are protecting your peace, or if you're not, that you have gained the courage and the willpower to protect your peace based off this episode. So, how are you protecting your peace? Let me know in the comments below, or you can email me at mindofmillennials@gmail.com. Um, Also, make sure to like our Facebook page, The Millennial Mind, and our Instagram page, The_Millennial Mind. And of course, I always have a quote for you guys. And this is from Wayne Dyer. And it basically says, peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is rather than as you think it should be. Ooh, let me read that again. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is rather than as you think it should be. Ooh, that's the peace that we all need. So thank you guys again for tuning in to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, until next week, I will talk to you guys soon.